right, well, let's move on to the real part of the show. And let's start it off with Guillermo Del Toro. I was like, I should know this. Why did I have to look down at my notes? But I did anyway. And this is because Guillermo Del Toro was recently interviewed, and he was talking about, the interview kind of skewed towards Pacific Rim. And the director was talking about how he script for Pacific Rim 2. And now it has not been greenlit by any major studio as of yet. I can't imagine it'll take very long for a major studio to greenlight it, because anybody who saw Pacific Rim 1, I mean, that was a surprise movie. I looked at that from previews and was like, oh, it's really stupid. I don't want to watch this. And then you actually watch the movie, and it was solid. I mean, you had Charlie Hunnam from Jax from the Sons of Anarchy. You had Charlie Day. You had all the best Charlies. All the best Charlies out there in business, except for Charlie Sheen. I guess they didn't get him into maybe the next one.
Yes, Charlie Sheen drives a robot. Winning is all I gotta say. But you had Charlie Day in it, and Charlie Day is awesome. If you don't know who he is, what is wrong with you? That is Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Not a lot of his own stuff, but he's a very good public speaker. I actually saw him at my little sister's graduation at Merrimack, and that actually went viral, and I was actually there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Maybe you should have reported on it live from there. Then we could go viral.
I would have, had I known he was going to be there. Like, I was sitting there reading the little, what do they call those? The
pamphlet?
No, but it's like program. The program. And my little brother turns to me and goes, not this other little brother, another one, goes, hey, look, it's Charlie Day is the guest speaker. You think that's him? I was like, no, that can't be him. That's not him. And then he goes walking past us, and I was like, oh, okay, it's him. Didn't realize he went to school there, but apparently he did. And I should also rephrase that. It is Dr. Charlie Day now, because he did get his honorary doctorate. Honorary doctorate. But we can still call him doctor. He is legally allowed to use that, I believe, since he does have an honorary doctorate. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so Pacific Rim 2, now there are going to be one or two new things. Like, his co-writer from the first one is actually doing another project somewhere else, and so was unavailable for this. But I think this is where we really get lucky, because they have Zach Penn, who is the co-writer of such movies like X-Men 2, now not X-Men, or X-Men 3, the bad ones. Well, X-Men 1 was good, but not X-Men 3, the bad one.
X-Men 2 was the best.
Yeah, X-Men 2 is the best. Exactly. So the best X-Men movie. And he also co-wrote with Joss Whedon The Avengers. So, I mean, two awesome action, big-budget, huge movies that turned out excellent. And this guy's joining the cast. So, or not the cast, the writers group. And so I'm looking forward to that. And the story, he was saying, is actually going to be a sequel. Now, a lot of people thought they were going to do a prequel to the first Pacific Rim, because in that movie, they kind of show the kaiju's first coming, and then they say, oh, they've been destroying us. They built these monsters, and they kind of did a montage flipping through that. And then we were able to fight them back with these giant monster machines that we were building, and then they kind of skipped to the final battle. So there's lots of room for a prequel there, but that's not the way he's going. He actually said in the interview he was never interested in doing a prequel or a lot of that. He skipped over a lot of that for a reason, because this is the part of the story he really wanted to focus on. And so Pacific Rim 2 is actually going to follow the two main characters from that survived from the first movie, and kind of see where it goes from there.
Honestly,
it's pretty interesting.
Put in there, I'm glad that they're not going with the prequel idea for two reasons. One, clearly, they already got the best, one of the best writers for doing a sequel for a series, right?
Mm-hmm.
With X-Men 2, great follow-up, probably, arguably, the best of the X-Men franchise so far. Arguably,
yeah, definitely.
But also because how many prequel movies can you think of that were good? Or were at least better than the first anyway. There's not very many. The only one I can think of that might have some merit to it is, and it wasn't even very much a prequel, but Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, because it kind of was set before the events of the first one, I think.
Yeah, I believe you're right. It was set before Raiders of the Lost Ark, because Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of flows
30s,
more into.
I think.
Yeah, I think.
20s.
I think that flows more into Last Crusade better than the other one does. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
you're
they don't
right.
have
They did
any
kind of do
real
that.
Nazis in Temple of Doom or anything. I think that's a little bit beforehand.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but you're right. I mean, prequel movies. I mean, Temple of Doom was actually the worst, in my opinion, the
yeah,
worst
and
of
I
the
was gonna
Indiana
say
Jones
like
movies.
it wasn't a bad like people like that movie at least. It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't up there with the other Indiana Jones movies.
And I
Um,
guess you can look at the Hobbit movies as prequel movies, and
but have
those are
they
not
been as
even
well?
at, huh?
But have they been as good as the
No,
Lord
that's
of
what
the
I was
Rings
about to
trilogy?
say. They're not even quarter of as good as the other ones. I should say they're at least half as good as the other ones. Because I just finished watching the second one the other night, and it was good, yeah, but you can tell that they just added so much filler, and that's the problem with prequel movies is they're just like, here, we're gonna make up this story that we kind of already mentioned, but we're gonna super elaborate on it, and it just ends up getting drawn out. And I mean, prequel movies aren't that great, so we're glad you
Yeah,
kind of went this new direction.
Star Wars prequels,
Pretty
those
horrible.
famous like really
Pretty
not
horrible.
well.
Yeah, pretty darn bad. And so now Guillermo del Toro did say he had some really crazy ideas for this next one, and I'm just wondering what they're gonna do. I mean, is it gonna be like, um, are the kaiju, did like some of them sneak in without them realizing it, and like so now there's like a mother kaiju in there that can birth more kaiju, and so they keep coming? Are they gonna totally go away from the kaiju? I mean, they can't really, can they? I mean, they have. That's pretty much
Well, you
essential.
never
I
know.
mean,
They could, if they're good enough, maybe they'll think of something else. Maybe the kaiju aren't the worst scum of the universe, or maybe they're obviously from some other planet or dimension or whatever it was that they explained.
yeah,
Maybe there's
another
others with
dimension, I
similar
believe.
technology out there, or maybe humans are going to go start exploring now with that technology.
Maybe they take that and they're like, hey, we'll go find other planets. Oh wait, there's other monsters on this planet. I mean, you could do something like that. So I am looking forward to that. That should be pretty cool. And I think Guillermo del Toro has proven that he is one of the best monster movie makers out there. I mean, if you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, yeah, it's in subtitles, but it is an amazing movie. Just the creatures in that are awesome. Hellboy 2, I wasn't really a big fan of Hellboy, but that Hellboy 2 didn't have this grandiose, huge budget, and yet he still did some of the most amazing things with those monsters and those characters with it. So I'm looking forward to that from him. I think he'll
Yeah,
do a really good
and
job.
he does it well enough that honestly, when I think of the movies you just listed, yeah, if I think about it hard enough, I realize, yeah, it's essentially a monster movie, but it doesn't initially remind me of a monster movie. Now, kind of because it reminds me of other stuff, like Pacific Rim, I think more of the robots, but you're right, it is the monster stuff. Labyrinth, there's a little bit more of a story to that, it seems to me. So I think of that more.
A very good story to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. He makes these monsters instead of just a side prop, an actual character, and you stop looking at them almost as monsters sometimes, and you start looking at them as actual characters. Because even though the kaiju didn't talk, they definitely were characters in that. I mean,
And there was enough other stuff going on that it wasn't like focused on just the fact that there are monsters. Like there are like a bunch of B movies you think of that are monster movies.
half the Godzilla movies out there.
Yeah, it's really just focused on the fact that there's this giant monster
Yeah.
and they are a monster. It's scary. They're killing people. Whatever it is, there's not a whole lot of depth beyond
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah, and it's really cool for him to add that depth. So Pacific Rim was, like we said, awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. Pacific Rim 2, we're hoping will be the same thing. But let us know what you think about Pacific Rim 2. What kind of direction you'd like him to take. Comments down below. Of course, Google Plus at Words for My Face on Twitter. Let us know what you think about Pacific Rim 2 coming out, or just some of the other Guillermo del Toro projects that we might have missed that are really awesome. Love to hear it. And so let us know. Hey, it's words from our face, but it can be words from your face too. Huh?
it can't, is that gonna be our new catchphrase?
No,
Words
that's
from your face too.
it's not only words from my face, it's words from your face too. Yeah, no, it's not going to be the catch.